This is a demonstration about how to create the wall framing for a window. It's very similar to how we framed our door, just a few little differences. I've saved time. I've already downloaded a window from 3D Warehouse. I'm going to go to Top View and rotate this so that it's facing forward. Type in 90 degrees. And I'm going to move this over here so that when we go to front view, we can see it very easily. All right, as with the door, we're going to need to know the dimensions. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to take my dimension tool, click on the bottom, click on the top, and click on this side, and click on that side. Okay, so it has some odd dimensions, but as long as I know them, I'll be fine. I'm going to start out very similar to the way the door was begun. I'm going to go to Top View. Actually, before I even do that, let's create a new layer. Wall framing. And we'll call this window. Make it active. Over here, make it active. All right, now let's go to Top View. And again, we will begin with creating our lumber. We're going to want something that is 6 inches wide and 12 feet long. So again, watch my dimensions down here. 12 feet, comma, 6 inches. And I will make that a component, and I'll call it window sole plate. And double click, fill it with a wood tone, and use my push-pull to extrude it up 2 inches. Type in those 2 inches. Always type in your dimensions so that you get them precise. We'll control move a copy of this component. We'll make the copy unique. Edit, solid component, make unique. We will move it around, and we will shorten this. We're going to take away 2 feet, because we need it to be 10 feet long. So I'm typing 2 feet, see down here, enter. Okay, and again, we can check our dimensions, which is always a good idea, by using our dimension tool. Click, and it is indeed 10 feet. All right, so I have my elements. Now I'm going to take this component, and I'm going to rotate it so that it's standing up 90 degrees. And I'm going to move that component so that it's sitting right on the end of my sole plate over here, lined up with that corner. I will move a copy 16 inches on the center. And I'm going to move a copy right alongside of that, only 2 inches away. And I'm going to make that copy unique because this is going to become a jack stud. Now let's go to front view again and see what this is looking like. Take my window. I want to move my window off to the side a little bit more. All right. Now let's look at our instructions back in Google Classroom. And we can see that this jack stud is divided. There's some cripple studs below. There are some boards that the window is going to sit on, And then up above, it works similar to the way the door did before. So we need to decide how high up our window wants to be. And we'll start with that. Typically, your window would start about 2 feet to 3 feet from the sole plate. So I'm going to take this jack stud that I have created and made unique. And at the moment, it's 10 feet high. I'm going to subtract 8 feet so that it's only 2 feet high. We want to make sure that this is unique. I could just draw a new piece of lumber. It all depends on what way you think is more convenient to work. I find it convenient to work with things that I already have. So I have this. Again, I'm going to look at my diagram and see how many do I need. It depends on how wide the window is. But I know I'm going to need a few. So I'm going to make a copy of this, Control Move. And I'm going to type in 16 inches, so it'll be 16 on center. Control Move, 16 on center. All right, and I'm not going to do a third one yet. Again, I'm looking at my diagram, and in my diagram, I need 2 horizontal boards. And the horizontal boards need to be 4 inches wider than the window. How do I know they need to be 4 inches wider? Because you see there's a jack stud on the left and a jack stud on the right. Each of those is 2 inches thick. So however wide my window is, plus 4 inches. So let's check my width over here. My width is 2 feet 10 7/8 inches. If I add, I'm going to be lazy and just type it in as 2 feet 14 7/8 inches. And let's see if the program can figure that out. So I'm just adding 4 inches here. 2 feet 14 7/8 inches. So I need to make a new rectangle. This rectangle is 2 inches, 6 inches. And I will make it a component. And I'll call it W1. We said that that needs to be 2 feet 14 7/8 inches. Two feet, no comma, 14, no comma, 7/8 inches. And there's our board. Now, click out in space, look at my diagram. My diagram says I need 2 of those. So I'm going to Control Move a copy of that up. There's a component, so I can Control Move one up. And then my diagram says I need jack studs here. And these are going to be the height of the window. So I'm going to take one of my jack studs and I'm going to Control Move a copy of it up so that it's sitting exactly touching king stud next to it. I'm going to make this unique. Edit, component, make unique, and I'm going to make it the height of my window. And the height of my window is 4 feet 6 3/4 inches. This is already 2 feet high, so I'm going to add 2 feet 6 3/4 inches. 2 feet 6 3/4 inches. My diagram again. My diagram says I need another one of those on the far side of my window. So I will take this component and control move a copy to the other side over here. And then I need the vertical boards the same way that we did it for the door. So let's take one of these and control move the top. So it's sitting right on top of these. And then if you remember for our door, what we did was to draw rectangles over here. I'm going to click out in space so no component is chosen. We drew a rectangle over here that was 2 inches by 6 inches. And we made that a component. And I'm going to control move a copy of that component over to the other side. And then we're going to pull those across using the push-pull extrude tool so that it's the width of our opening there. Look at the diagram again, and we see that we're going to need some more studs on the top. But in order to know how big they are, we'll have to put in our top plates. So let's go to front view. And let's select, we'll click out in space, select our sole plate, control move, copy of that up 10 feet, 2 inches, and another copy, control move, just a few inches above. Now we're going to take our king stud here and control move a copy over to the other side. We want this to exactly touch our jack stud. We need to move in really close to make sure it's touching. There we go. All right, so now I can take these studs that I had down below. I'll take one of them, control move a copy up to the top. And again, it's not the right size, so I'm going to have to make this unique. Let's move it into position first. Edit, solid component, make unique, orbit, and use our extrude push-pull to pull that up so that it touches the bottom of that upper plate. Now, we need to make copies of that. Again, the placement is 16 inches on center. So select that component, Control Move, back in 16 inches. Control Move, 16 inches, and Control Move, 16 inches. All right, so our window opening is ready. I'm going to duplicate my king stud, Control Move, and again make it 16 inches. Sorry. And let's test our opening. Well, I can get rid of the dimensions here. Let's select our window and move it into position. We need to go to a couple different views before you can get it lined up exactly. But it should fit pretty well. There we go. Now, it does tend to hang out because there's usually what's called a window sill. So let me just go to top view here a minute. And let me rotate this around 180 degrees. And then position this. Because usually the window sill is on the inside. So we have this sill that's here. All right, and that is how you frame and position your windows. Again, I'm going to go to front view. I'm going to select all of this. And you can either group it or make it a component. I'm going to make it a group, and I'm going to be able to use that now in my house. This concludes this tutorial.